Hello, all you creepsters. It is I, your tiredest Spoopy Boi, your King Ginger, and I am co hosting with the lovely, talented, magical, and very horrific Colin.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Colin, the Dream Weaver, your Archduke of Darkness. And I'm an all-around
Uh,
spoopy boy. And
hey,
yeah, we're here to
you,
have a good time.
Garth Marenghi impersonator.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Hey, Mitch and Super Spike, how's it going on this wonderful Friday evening?
Ooh, all right. Yeah.
Where it's cold and sucky outside, but at least I don't have to go shovel some more. Yeah.
Yeah. Shovel-free day for me as well. It was wonderful after all the deluge of snow just coming down.
Yeah, it wasn't even that's the thing is it wasn't bad, but it was like I went out and shoveled and then it like sleeted and then I had to go out and shovel again last night and
Yeah.
there was spots where I was like, oh, I'm gonna ice skate with no skates. This is great.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely bring my kid out to the bus stop this morning. Was definitely slipping and sliding all over the place. At one point, I was like, "Whoa!" It was pretty comical. Yeah, it was a good
All
time.
right. So you picked the topic.
Yeah,
What do we got tonight?
tonight I was thinking we're gonna do what I'm calling one and dones. Basically, my concept of it is horror movies that had so much potential, or even teased a sequel, but it just never happened. They had all the steam behind them to be that franchise, or they thought they did, and just did not come about in the cards. Or even an addendum to this, movies that were just so awesome and they shot their shot in one, and they're just like, nailed it. Don't need to do anymore. So yeah, so that's what I was thinking we could go over tonight.
Or
Um,
well, you wanna kick us off, and I will
yeah.
jump in because
All
I've
right.
got two lists I put together.
Okay.
Mine are one and dones, and then movies that I really wanted more. I wanted a sequel.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, to hit off on that, then, one of the first ones I would love to talk about is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh God,
And legit, like this movie used to. I was terrified of this movie before I even saw it because
I
not
hate
the biggest.
clowns.
Not the biggest fan of clowns. And then I remember just the old school VHS cover at the video store was the
Oh,
clown finger touching the globe, and it was like breaking apart and spinning. And then if you flipped over on the back, one of the still images was one of the clowns grabbing this lady, and she looked absolutely terrified. And my little brain, just seeing that alone, I was just like, nope, 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 nope. And then you rent it, and it's the most bizarre, wonderful, madcap thing you could ever hope for.
is it as close to House HAUS as we have as from an American
Oh
filmmaker?
gosh.
That's just crazy.
Well, you because you could even put our version of House. Maybe the sequels, number two, that
Yeah,
gets kind of silly, or even the non-official. Is it the third one with Lance Henriksen, where it wasn't supposed to be a House movie? They just slapped House in the title.
I can't remember. Those movies kind of all
They're so
ran
bizarre.
together.
But yeah, no, like just yeah, it's out there. It's out there. The universe it takes place in is a strange, like you don't really know what the rules are going on, and it just changes from moment to moment. There's like
It's something
yeah,
else.
from like the little clown punching the dude's head off. Spoiler alert if anyone hasn't seen this movie.
There's a real uneven, like, just pace to it, I
Yeah,
guess, or
oh yeah,
feeling.
yeah.
Like, I'm not sure, like, how I'm supposed to feel about it, and I don't like clowns, and I don't like puppets. Like, I
Oh,
don't like the classic because I saw Magic far too young,
oh.
and that movie it still bothers me to this day,
That's a
like,
very
viscerally.
disturbing movie.
But Clear Clowns is another one where, um so my dad used to rent us. Sometimes he would watch them with us, horror
Mhm.
movies in the summer, especially. We'd go to the video store like twice a week. And we just, especially like the local video store, you get just a butt ton of movies for like,
Yeah.
99 cents a piece.
Mhm.
Um, and we just rented horror movies like nonstop.
Yeah.
When I got into high school, we would actually drive to another town 30 minutes away to rent movies because we had rented everything.
Yeah.
We would go like to this place called Video Warehouse, and it was literally just a warehouse. It was just like I'm tall and I couldn't fully reach the top shelf on some of them.
Oh, that's awesome.
They had everything. And we would go and rent like 10 movies, and we would do these shitty movie nights on Friday nights. My friends and I were at Wood because, I was such a popular guy. But it started off as like it was just like 4 of us. By
Mhm.
to be a senior, there'd be like 25 people.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like I would joke about it. Like now that everybody's here, it's not as cool. I'm
Oh,
I'm actually here for the Michael Dudikoff art.
oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
River of Death being one of my favorites we watch.
Yes.
That movie bothers me. I mean, I give it to you. Do you feel like it needed a sequel, or do you feel like
Oh, big
it
time
was
sequel. Oh, they even tease it at the end. They do the big thing, and I don't know, is it the Kyoto brothers or the Chiodo brothers? I've heard it pronounced both ways, but the guys behind this, they're industry veterans who've been just doing all sorts of awesome practical effects and puppetry and stuff for a long time. I think they did a lot with Full Moon and Charles Band and stuff, if I'm not
could be?
mistaken. Um, but yeah, they have the big awesome fight at the end with the big giant, like I always thought of him as the T-Rex version of the clowns. He's just huge, the king clown, I guess. And then at the end, you think they won the
Oh, they
day.
did Theodore Rex. They did Night of the Little Dead.
Yeah, dude.
They did some interesting stuff.
Yeah, they have a very varied like some stuff that's pretty respectable, if I'm not mistaken, where it's like, oh, that's actually a
They
pretty
did
good movie.
Critters.
Yeah, yeah. Which I also
They
love.
did UHF.
Yes, yes. Um,
They did
but
Team
yeah,
America, World Police.
did they really?
Yep. They were the stop motion animation supervisors on Elf. They were the puppet supervisors on Team America.
Oh, and I think they also, what kind of reignited my interest in them, I think they also did the special effects on that. I don't know if you remember, it was Paul Rudd, Steve Carell, dinner for friends, or dinner with,
I know what you're
where
talking about.
you're supposed to invite like kind of an
Yeah, the
idiot to
worst
dinner and
person.
stuff.
Yeah.
And the beginning of that movie is so bizarre, where you see Steve Carell has these like little taxidermy mice all in these poses around this little, and that's totally their brand, the
Yeah.
Kyoto brothers. I was just like, this is wonderful.
They did a lot of stuff.
They did, yeah. And I guess they say their crowning achievement is still Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and they've been trying to get a sequel forever.
Dinner for Schmucks is what you think.
Dinner for Schmucks, that's it.
They
And
did
there
some
hasn't
stuff on
been
The Simpsons too. Dang.
really.
Yeah. They did they produced a segment for The Simpsons, The Fight Before Christmas.
I don't know if I know that one.
Yeah, they did some interesting things.
But yeah, they're all over the place. But yeah, totally Killer Clowns is something I always wanted to see more of. They do have a video game in the works. I don't know if that's going to be like
That's wild.
a weird backdoor sequel. I'm all for it. I'm like, I doubt it's going to be a hit, because I don't know where the audience is for that. But I don't know if the Evil Dead game became a hit that was released this year, and I didn't expect that, because I didn't realize there's that many Deadites out there, but apparently there are. But yeah, man.
Hard telling with some of that stuff. I mean,
Yeah, it is because there's such, when cult things have that fan fervor, like I think we take it so big that it seems like it's this big large thing because our love for it is so immense. But then when you get out into the wider thing, it's just like
get out in the real world and you're like,
yeah.
So One and Done for me that I don't think ever needs a sequel, and I just watched it for the first time this year, is Perfect Blue.
Oh yeah,
never seen it. I'd been told for years to watch it, and it popped up on Shudder, and I watched it, and it was superb. Yeah,
it's really good. I need to rewatch that. It's been a while. First time I saw that, I might have been like 13 or so I'm sure I missed so much of it, but even then it was such a trip. I was just like, whoa, okay.
even just watching it this time and kind of having watched some other people I enjoy videos of talk about it, I know that I'll get more out of it upon a second watch,
Oh yeah.
third watch, fourth watch, that there's a lot of little things going on that even I was a little like, okay, hold on a second, what? So yeah, I look forward to watching it again. But I think there's an entire section of kind of that. I hate the prestige or elevated horror label,
Yeah.
but things like that, like I put Perfect Blue in that category, but things like Lake Mungo, things like The Witch, The Babadook.
Yeah.
I mean, they've said all they need to say, and they're superb in the way they said it.
Mm-hmm.
So there doesn't need to be a follow up at all. They're not, you know, It Follows. I think you can probably put in that category, although I feel it has maybe more sequel legs than any of those other.
That's one that I'd be fine if they never did any kind of follow up for that. But you do see where someone, if they were so driven to, they could easily put more steam into that. Yeah.
I think that's the thing. There's like that one. There's a category of horror that kind of doesn't lend itself to that, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. It's nice to have something that puts a very like definitive stamp on what they're trying to do, and like you see a story that is more, I guess, self-assured, and that they're like, this is it, this is what we're doing, this is what I want to say, and here's the beginning and here's that end, and it's the end. Yeah,
and it's satisfying. It's a satisfying end,
and it's satisfying as well. There's no, totally. Yeah, and perfect. Yeah, I would definitely put Perfect Blue up there. And like, and also just as far as like an anime goes, I can't think of many that kind of stand shoulder to shoulder with it, at least in the type of story it tells and how it tells it.
I'm the wrong person for that. I'm not the biggest anime guy. I know what I like, but I also am kind of like,
Yeah, no, I have a very small lane. It's like cyberpunk stuff, and then like dudes with swords, or Dragon Ball Z, and then I'm in there. Otherwise, but like when some people are like, "Oh, you got to do this," and then it's like, like fan service stuff. I'm like, "Whoa, I'm out of here later."
I was a big Ranma 1/2 fan in college. I found Ranma 1/2 to be hilarious.
I'll give it a pass, as I got into Ranma half really young too. So like there's an endearing quality to that, even though there is still the bit of the girl in her underwear.
Oh no. There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
What's your next one? What else? What else on your list?
Another one for sequel potential, and this is another one I think that I think Neil Marshall has been trying to. That's the director.
I am not a fan of Neil Marshall.
Really? Okay. Well, this is Dog Soldiers. Have you seen it?
I love Dog Soldiers.
Great movie. But yeah, like I think Dog Soldiers would definitely be. There should, in my perfect world, we'd be on like Dog Soldiers 7 right now. like it's doggy style or whatever, and because it's a lean movie.
It is a very lean movie. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's lean, and what they do on their budget is incredible. So if he was able, I feel like, to get a bigger budget and do some of that magic.
So you say that, and then he shit the bed with Hellboy.
Oh gosh!
And I just watched. I movie. I watched. I shouldn't say I watched. I tried to watch The Reckoning on Shudder, which is another. It was like, this is all Neil Marshall.
Oh.
And I got like 20 minutes in, and I turned it off. That's how bad it was. It was so bad.
Where will shotgun blast through the window? Yeah.
That's a great movie.
It is.
The Descent
and I love The Descent.
Yeah, The Descent is a great movie, but I kind of feel like that.
Yeah, and I
don't want to yuck your yum.
Oh no, totally. But like I can see, because like he is very hit and miss. Like there's things like Doomsday where there's like ideas in it. I'm like,
there's a lot of stuff to be mined in that movie, but it's just not good.
How he put it together, and the way it's like Neil Marshall and I are both playing with the same toys, but the story he wants to tell or the way he wants to play with him is, it's like, no, that's not how I want to do it this time. But he's the guy who's, got the pick or whatever. But like, yeah, like there's stuff like that. Definitely in I'm trying to think of one of his more recent, the Hellboy movie. Even there's stuff that I even like, even though that's a mess. Like when the demons start coming up at the end, like some of the greatest, coolest visuals I've seen on film, like with some of that stuff, like very like just almost like Clive Barkerish, like what you'd think of like Leviathan and things like that realm coming from out of there. It's just awesome. But yeah, like Dog Soldiers, like it's just so sweet. It's like Predator meets The Howling, and I'm a big fan of both of those. So this kind of, it just hit lightning, and like it's just struck in the right spot. And yeah, it's got actors I really enjoy, and then also being a like foreign film to American audiences, like there are those actors I am not familiar with, like, so they get to fully, in my mind, they are those characters, and that's another little fun little level to it. But yeah, and there's some fun twists in it, and it gets to a big bloody brawl, and it becomes kind of a siege movie at the end, almost like a fun horror version of Straw Dogs without all the grossness of Straw Dogs.
Or if you've seen VFW,
yes, yes. VFW is an awesome movie. But yeah, I love Dog Soldiers. It's something I recommend, and I know since like 2014 they've been trying to do a sequel. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but it would be one I would welcome.
Have you ever seen Howl?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Howl's got that same vibe.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same. It has the siege vibe, and it's got a little bit of a more everyman story.
Yes. Yeah. You're not like the super.
I think I love the more Predator, Dylan, you son of a bitch version of that. I think Dog Soldier no pun intended, scratches a lot of itches with that.
Oh, it does.
It's just like I said, it's too bad I don't feel like Neil Marshall really has done a lot else I've enjoyed. But that's just me.
I mean, when I really think about it, it's like I've liked some of his TV work, and out of his filmography, definite likes are The Descent, the first one, and Dog Soldiers, and then the rest, it's all kind of like I can pick and choose moments, if not recommend the whole thing, like Doomsday, like it's like again, Mad Max, awesome, and then like Knights. Cool. I don't know if we should marry him.
It's like George Romero called, and he wants his. I can't remember the name of the movie now. Where Night Riders, is that what it's called?
So the Knights of, oh gosh,
it's got Ed Harris is in it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about though. That movie is. I'm pretty sure MST3K, if not Riff Tracks, covered it. It's, oh gosh, yeah. It's a goofy one.
I'll find it really quick what the name is because it's going to bother me. Night Riders, I was right.
It's KN, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So good.
Network is a horror movie. Oh, yeah. I could see that. Very surrealist horror, sure.
Definitely, I think it's as much a horror movie as Shin Godzilla is, because it's about bureaucracy kind of folding.
Oh yeah. Shin Godzilla is great. That's great. That's another one that I don't know if I would put it, because with the Godzilla movies, it's part of this long series, but I
don't think they're going to do any more Shin Godzilla. At least the guy who did Shin Godzilla is not doing anymore, because he said that Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman are yin and yang to each other. Shin Godzilla is about the bureaucracy, the failings of humanity in its most bureaucratic form when faced with overwhelming horror.
Yeah.
And how a few people can actually push solution, but in the end, it's almost pure dumb luck.
Yeah.
As on the opposite, Shin Ultraman is about hope. It's about like outside forces inspiring us to be better and about how we inspire outside forces to do the same. And in the same interview, they asked him, well, what's the tone of Shin Kamen Rider then? He said, you're going to wait and find out, aren't you? I was like, God damn you, because Kamen Rider is my jam.
Wait, he's there. He's doing a new Kamen Rider.
Oh, there's a trailer for it, and it is almost a shot-for-shot version of the original Kamen Rider opening.
Ooh,
it's amazing.
That's cool. I'm down with that.
It's so good. Same music. They had the lead actor sing it just like the lead actor sung it in the original. So good. I was just like, oh, Kamen Rider. As far as another one which I don't want to see any more of is Event Horizon.
Yeah,
I think Event Horizon, I know it gets crapped on a lot sometimes, and I don't get it. I would love to see all the extended stuff that they cut, because from what I have read and heard, it's like a even darker movie with all that in it.
Yeah,
I will say the other reason I don't want to see anything else from it is because the fan theory that is the prequel to the Warhammer 40K world.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm down with that. It makes a lot of sense visually.
Oh, I love that.
So,
and another one is that it is the last movie between Hellraiser 3 and Hellraiser 4 where they go to space. And I'm like, it could definitely easily be. He basically becomes a Cenobite at the end.
Yeah.
Basically a Cenobite.
Yeah, I love that movie. I love that movie. I think it's extremely well acted. Lawrence Fishburne is amazing in that movie. He has the big nope speech in it. I just really like it. Nope, we're leaving.
And one of the I'm a huge sucker for the hero sacrificing himself in a movie. If you do that, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And that, like, do you see? Yes, I see. Like, yeah, dude. And just and it's the claustrophobia of that movie, and just everyone getting picked off one by one.
It is I get that Alien is technically a haunted house movie. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
I feel like Event Horizon is more of a haunted house movie than Alien.
Oh, it's a definite ghost story. It really is, because you're not seeing like that. You know, there are those moments where there's like a little bit of gore in here and there, but like it's not like outright assaulting you with it for the most part. And all the tension that's built is from all these little creepy moments. Like, what was that she just heard? Yeah. Or like, wait, what's going on with him and his wife? It's like, is that a kid I just saw crawling through a tunnel? It's just like, it just, and then it just bum, until it all spills over and you're like, oh shit, it's hit the fan.
As far as Evangelon, Neon Genesis Evangelon, I have only watched a little bit of that. I really liked what I saw, but I like kaiju and tokusatsu, so I mean, it makes sense. I just need to. It's another one of those where I should spend some time and just watch it, because I've heard the themes of it are extremely horrific.
Same here.
I did enjoy Attack on Titan. I did watch all of that, and it was good.
That's one I couldn't get into. I love like the design of the Titans and everything. But yeah, for some reason I just couldn't get into it. Evangelion is something I really want to get into, but like, it's like something I've seen a few episodes here and there, but it's like, oh, I really need to invest my time and give this my full attention.
Yeah, it feels like the investment you need to be willing to make it. Otherwise, it might be a little hard to kind of pierce. One of my really good friends, she is a wild manga, anime, Japanese culture. She's been to Japan a couple times. She has always threatened to, like, I'm going to get you into this. And we just haven't had, there's been 2 years of not being able to do much of anything. So, but yeah, it's, that's a good one. I think to keep in mind. What else you got? I think we're just trade back and forth.
Yeah. Let's another one. I'm sure this is one we both know. Monster Squad. I want more. I don't
think there's anything wrong with asking for more.
There is no. There's it's one that can sit where it is, and because it's perfectly wrapped up, and it's got like, yeah, we're the Monster Squad. Boom, end credits.
What do you do with that? Do you recast it, remake it, and go from there, or
Well, obviously, it would have been, if I had my time machine, we'd go back and make the
when
sequel, like
Shane
while we
Black
still have the
was
kids.
writing really good stuff?
Oh yeah, before he did Predators, or The Predator, excuse me. Predators is awesome. The Predator is terrible.
What happened, Shane?
But like, yeah, if we did that now, gosh, why not get the kids if we could, if they were still up for it? I mean,
Have
or
them be the
you could
parents?
try to do, like the parents thing. You could do the Ghostbusters Afterlife, where you've got a little bit of connective tissue, but you're bringing in like a new kind of thing. But also, now that I'm talking about it, it's like, what would be the next set of monsters? Because they really took on that first set, was the classic Universal setup, basically. And yeah,
I think they in a way they kind of did. I mean, Fear Street did a lot of that, and they did it really, really well, and did it more like an '80s. It was. I love those 3 Fear Street movies.
They're
I
great.
think they're great.
Are they doing more? Did I hear that?
I don't know. I mean, if they do,
they're
I know
fantastic.
that's that's what R.L. Stein's books. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That dude wrote a lot of books.
Yeah, he did. I used to have I was one of those kids who collected all the Goosebumps books, and I had like a shelf just for the Goosebumps. It was
after my time, as far as it kind of goes in the timeline there.
Yeah.
But it's been probably 10 years ago or so. A friend of mine tracked me down all the Lone Wolf books.
I've just been going about getting those and collecting them.
They're
for
amazing.
My kid. Oh my, wonderful.
I actually had a second full set, and I sent it to my nephew. I can see if he still has them, because he's like a sophomore in high school. So
they're doing a reprinting of them now. They're collecting them all again. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised to find that out. Yeah, Lone Wolf if you don't know, is an amazing choose your own adventure series set in this fantasy world. It's fantastic.
But you had a character you had to roll up,
yes,
like D&D.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you actually did combat in the books. So it was very interesting. It was something I very much enjoyed.
Oh yeah, totally. But yeah, no, I just kind of talked myself out of wanting to see a Monster Squad sequel.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, there really isn't.
Another one for me that I don't want to see a sequel for is Cold Skin.
Oh no, don't need to.
I really like Cold Skin. Snuck up on me. It's like I was like, oh, I saw kind of the ads and was like, I don't know, and then I watched and I was like, this was really good. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah. I'd maybe, if they had like some deleted scenes on the cutting room floor that they could add back in, that could maybe. But even then, I like that the creatures are more of a mystery. So yeah. But that's that movie works so well as just boom, getting in and getting out, and it just being this bizarre episode in this guy's life, and now he's going to have to move on back into the real world. I love those eerie moments like that.
Yeah, it's very. It's not very. It's got enough Lovecraftian horror going on in it, but it also just has that almost. I always relate it to the movie Ravenous, where you have these 2 characters who are just like at each other's throat in a very in a very, but like in a almost like manipulative, friendly way. And then you just see it speeding towards this. There's gonna be confrontation. When it happens, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
The Lighthouse does that really well.
Frenemies, but
passive aggressive, passive aggressive alpha dogging.
Yeah. Oh, especially with the Lighthouse, and that's I love that movie. Oh my God, Willem Dafoe, whew, so good, man.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Oh God, but yeah, Cold Skin for sure. That's great.
I really like the creature designs in it too.
And
very simplistic. Yeah, practical. They look like. I mean, it fits the tone and tenor and visuals of the movie. It's a solid little flick. I don't think it gets enough attention.
No, I think you might be the only other person I know who's talked about it. and like also just to touch back on the practical effects of it, like it's people with makeup and suits and prosthetics on, but like you don't there's a disconnect. You don't see it, as opposed to like what's that trailer for that new kind of Lovecraftian fish people movie coming out?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember what
Yeah,
it's called.
which I'm excited for, but you could tell there's kind of like the rubbery guy in a suit quality, which is a very endearing on its
Yeah,
own.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like
I have a soft spot in my heart for guy in a suit movies.
oh yeah, totally. You love it. I loved when you see the wobbly fingers and stuff like that, and the floppy feet.
I mean, but it also, I think, if you are really good at, you can take that and turn it into a plus. I mean, Pumpkinhead is a great example of that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what they were able to do with what they had, and a first-time director too. God, I can't think of the special effects artists who
Stan
did
Winston, wasn't
Stan
it?
Winston. Yeah, that's an amazing movie because of how
Yeah.
well they were able to. It's almost like cooler to know all the things that they couldn't do and how they hit it.
It's kind of like almost the land-based version of Jaws, with how much trouble they had with Jaws.
Yeah.
They really had to figure out like just so many ways to shoot around it to make it look better, and it succeeded. That movie is I love Pumpkinhead so
Plus,
much.
it's got Lance Henriksen in it.
Yeah, you put Lance Henriksen in a movie, I'm 50% won over already. Yeah.
All right, what do you got?
Yeah. Next, Mikey. Did you ever see Mikey?
I have seen Mikey.
Mikey,
That's a deep cut.
kid. Yeah,
that's a deep cut.
With the tagline, remember, even Freddie and Jason were kids once.
Yeah.
Boom. But yeah, if you haven't seen Mikey, 1992, Mikey is a movie. It's not, I wouldn't even call it a slasher. It's a legit serial killer study about a little kid who gets moved from foster home to foster home because he keeps killing
it has a very Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer vibe, but not the same, like, just that movie's gritty, and Mikey's more like, hey, shucks, let's go murder a family.
Yeah, there's definitely, like, he's
stepfather. It's more stepfather than Henry, but it has kind of the same DNA in it.
Yeah. Because like people are dying they're slipping on ball bearings and stuff. There's very much like kind of, it's almost a twisted Home Alone in a little bit of its DNA. You're right.
Or Serial Mom.
Oh, I love Serial Mom. Ooh,
Serial Mom's good.
That's a hilarious movie.
It's legit. Like that movie and like The Burbs and some of those weird movies in those time period, they're as close as you can get to like horror comedy at that point, I think.
Yeah, and
the People Under the Stairs is,
yes, that was on my list actually, Mitch. People, yeah, like
hit it right now.
All right, yeah, People Under the Stairs. Probably I don't know if it's going to be controversial, but my favorite of Wes Craven's films.
No, it's a super fun movie.
It's so good. You've got the spooky kind of haunted house qualities and stuff like that going on with it. You've got creepy creeps under the stairs doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, and then they've got a tragic twist to it. Like the mother, father / brother sister duo, who is Ed and Nadine from Twin Peaks. It's so fantastic. They are just so creepy, and they're hamming it up, and it's just the best time. You've got the kid from Sandlot who threw the heater. He's our hero. You got a young Ving Rhames.
It's really good.
It's really good. It's there. There's parts that are where it strikes comedy and also like bizarre creepiness like so well, and it's just a fun ride throughout. And that's definitely one where you got the fun ending where one of the people on the stairs takes out his sunglasses and he's like, yeah, all right, about to hit LA. And I could have seen more of that. I mean, it would have been a completely different movie if we followed that guy or whatever, but I would have been down for it. Or maybe we found out they had like
people into the streets and turned it into like a Chud movie.
Oh man, if we could have got a decent Chud sequel, that would have been nice. But instead we got Chug 2. Oh man.
So speaking of Wes Craven, I wanted more Shocker.
Shocker, yes.
I think Shocker is like a movie that's on the edge of being really good, and I really like
Yeah.
the premise, and I love the guy who played
Yeah,
Shocker.
Mitch Pileggi, yeah,
Yeah,
from the also,
X-Files.
yeah, X-Files. But he is fantastic in that role. He really plays a creepy kind of big hulking villain really well. Like I wouldn't have thought that knowing him first from X-Files and then seeing
Yeah.
Shocker later. But yeah, he's good.
He's a
Uh,
more menacing, funny Freddy.
yes. Well, yeah, because they quickly took the menace out of Freddy. Like I'd say after
I'd say Nightmare
three,
2, he's not menacing anymore.
really, even in three.
No.
Really?
It's just kind of
Well,
about
yeah,
like,
no,
let me
three.
do these.
He's full funny because that's it's
Yeah,
prime time, bitch.
it's
And
like, watch me do all these cool kills, guys. Hey, kids, watch me kill these other kids. It's gonna be pretty sweet. Whereas Shocker, I was like, oh shit, this guy's got Brad Dourif creepiness. Like,
uh-huh. Oh yeah,
so yeah, I like Shocker. It's a weird movie that I'm like, I wouldn't call it a guilty pleasure, but I would just definitely say like that's a movie I would have liked to have seen. With all the movies that got sequels, I'm like, why didn't Shocker get a sequel?
yeah, yeah. Even like straight to video, that could have been like, that's not the hardest concept to like recreate, like electric based serial killer, or but yeah, for some reason it just didn't go forward. Even though there's movies that definitely have like like Ghost in the Machine, definitely could have been like a Shocker sequel.
Mitch, you're dead right. New Nightmare Freddy is fucking perfect.
Actually, yeah,
That is menace. Like there is something about even the way that Robert Englund moves in that movie where
that made Freddy scary again.
Yeah,
for me.
I like campy Freddy. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
But menacing Freddy is like that's my jam.
Yeah, no, New Nightmare. I mean, meta horror before meta horror was even a thing. Like, hats off to Wes Craven for that. That was, and just I remember I went to see that in the theater with my dad, and I was probably way too young to have seen it, but like, just that layer of like, oh, that's Wes Craven. That's the like, wait, and they're it blew my mind at like 9 years old. But that movie still holds up today.
It really does.
Yeah,
it really does.
Mm-hmm.
Is it your turn or my turn? I feel like we're just jumping back and forth.
I can go again.
Why don't you go?
Yeah. Well, let's throw up. How about Behind the Mask?
It's on my list as well.
Yes.
Oh my god, I love this movie.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Like I just kind of watched it on a whim. I was like, okay, whatever this is, and then
I showed it to everybody.
Yeah,
like,
it's.
Oh, have you seen Beyond the Mask?
It's hilarious, but also once that turn happens, legit frightening. You're like, oh, these people are in trouble.
That's why I love it so much. It's got the same turn that Shaun of the Dead has, where mom's gets bit, and all of a sudden you're like, oh fuck, I'm watching a zombie movie.
Yeah.
Like I forgot this was a horror movie.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that when that documentary style goes away and you're into like the third person outside, you're like, oh, you're exactly what you said. Oh, these people are in trouble.
Yeah.
Like,
and you realize what they've been doing the entire time in regards with the crew, Leslie and his whole cohorts. It's just, it's such a juicy turn, and they pull it off so well. And I can't remember that lead actor's name, but the enthusiasm he brings to that role, like
he is so likable.
Once everything the shit hits the fan, I remember still sitting there being like, it can work out. It can work out. It's gonna be okay.
I mean, it worked out for his buddy Eugene. It can work out.
Yeah.
I love like all the inside nods to like where he's talking about cardio and he's just like, our teenagers are fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to be able to run from one side of the block to the next side of the block and look like I'm not breathing hard. Come on.
Or I love when he's like burying himself alive so he can work on holding his breath. He's like, new record. It's just like...
the trick with the fishing line. Just the whole movie is there's such a great, when you're looking for your Loomis and, there's just so much cool stuff going on in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it is hilarious. And then when that turn hits, you're like, oh shit. And then the ending.
Yeah.
That post credits. First of all, they got Talking Head Psycho Killer
Yeah.
in that.
Oh yeah, I love that.
But
I
the
love
way
song.
that ends, I was like, oh God, how can we not get more of this?
Yeah, and especially that movie screams, it begs for more. And
They've been
like
trying to do more for a while.
yeah,
They did
yeah.
some comics, I guess. But
Oh really?
I believe they
Oh,
did.
I'll have to hunt those down, man. Because
Just
yeah, like
oof.
just so rich and fertile for like that should have been a franchise.
Yeah. Oh
And one
man,
I would
just
have loved.
talking about it gets me all hot and bothered. That's a good ass
Yeah,
movie.
for sure, for sure.
Um,
Um,
so I know we mentioned this one when we were talking off
mhm.
um show, but I really wanted a sequel to the Blob remake.
Yes,
Desperately.
yes, it sets one up perfectly. And then me myself, I'm not sure where it stands. If itself is a sequel to the original Blob or not, because they kind of it's
They
not.
allude to it, but it's not.
They do, and that's the thing is
I
like
think that's one of those winks and nods to
okay, it's
like
just like oh yeah, you know, if you're kind of in the know. But yeah, no, that's oh gosh, that might be one of the best remakes I've ever seen. Like
the
even maybe even
Blob.
better
The
than The
Blob.
Thing.
No, The Thing is the best movie of all time.
Okay,
The
okay, okay.
Blob, The Thing, and The Fly are kind of that holy
Oh, I forget
trinity of
about The
remakes
Fly.
that they take that really fun 50s vibe and they just turn it
Make it
all
their
the way
own.
up
Yeah,
to 11. They make it their own and they make it terrifying.
yeah,
The Blob scared me to death as the original 50s one bothered me when I was a kid.
yeah.
But
But
then to
this,
see the remake, I was like, oh my God.
yeah, like I saw it probably when I was like 6 or 7, and
Mm-hmm.
when you start seeing kids getting killed, you don't feel safe as a kid, and it was terrifying. And the practical gore effects on there are just so disgusting. And yeah, oh. But
It's
yeah,
a
I would have
great
loved to have
movie.
seen it's and the Blob is such a great it's so simple it seems silly, but once you can see it in action, like in the Blob remake, like it's like, yes, this works. This is a terrifying thing. This is a relentless presence, and it's
Just the
not.
concept too. It's just basically a giant amoeba.
Yeah, yeah,
All it
and
does is eat, and it gets bigger, and it's not. Yeah, there's no spot small enough it can't get in.
mhm.
There's nothing you found that really does anything to it, and it just.
You can only put it like in a state of dormancy, basically.
Mhm.
But you just put it to sleep, maybe, kind of. But yeah, and it like yeah, like it doesn't young or old, it don't give no shits. It's just gonna kill you.
They're all
Like
food.
it'll take out a theater full of kids.
Yep,
It's
they're all
insane.
food.
All
Oh,
food. Oh, and also wonderful bait and switch in that movie where you think Johnny Football Star is gonna save the day, and oh boy, oh wow, you get to see him dissolved.
pulls a Wes Craven Nightmare 1 on you.
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah. Johnny Depp. Yep. Or
Well,
no,
it's not
not
even
even
Johnny Depp. It's the
yeah,
girl you think's
yeah,
gonna be your final girl, and she dies
yeah.
like second in the movie.
Which
Also,
no,
is kind of something they mimicked in Scream.
yeah. Oh yeah, because yeah, I remember everyone. Oh, Drew Barrymore's in it. You know, she was still a bit of a name. I mean, she still is, but like she was like the only kind of name really attached to that at the time. I'd say, outside of like Henry Winkler. But like,
It's a
yeah.
really smart trope. It's become a trope now, but it was a smart thing that
Oh, it was so yeah. Like without because like everyone back no internet, so like spoilers were kept so well back then, and like yeah, going in and it's like, oh yeah, Drew Barrymore, you see her on the cover, she's going to be the star, and then boom, just gutted, and you're whoa, okay, yeah, all right, it
and then
was
all bets are
wonderful,
off.
yeah, totally, and then like yeah, and then introducing that it was Scream, you got that whole fresh faced cast and stuff, so you really don't know who's going to live, who's not. It was great. um Another one I'd throw up, 13 Ghosts.
Really? That's a remake.
Wait, what?
Yeah, 13 Ghosts is a remake.
I recuse
I
myself
just
of
no.
being a
I just
Spoopy
said
Boy. I don't know if I can
I
hold the
just said
title.
but I did the Blob. Yeah, 13 Ghosts is a remake. I like the remake's better than the original, though. I think the remake is visually a lot of fun. I don't consider it like a great movie, but it's a
No,
very fun movie.
it's to get throw it up under like a B movie labeling. It's just a fun ride. Make some popcorn, sit back, enjoy the visuals that are being.
That was another one that was in when they did The Haunting and they did Hill House. All right, Hill House. Oh God, what is that movie called? It was a. It's gonna bug me. It was a William Castle movie. I can't remember the name of it.
Well, there was The Haunting.
The Haunting,
remake,
and it was.
And then isn't it The Haunting of Hill House where
House
Jeffrey
on
Rush?
Haunted Hill?
House on Haunted Hill. That's it. Yes. Yeah.
All three of those came out like all at the same time, basically, and they were all remakes.
They really, yeah. They all did come around in that same, like, yeah.
You're exactly right, Mitch. And I think that movie would make a wonderful D&D session.
Ooh, yeah.
I really would. It's a location-based thing. Monsters are all the same on the surface.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Is a puzzle.
Yeah, I really like I said, like you said, it's a really great B movie. It's like that's a fun movie you can sit down and just enjoy with almost anyone because it's not going to gross them out. It's got little jump scares to it. The cast is fun.
And like the cast is
Ninth Gate.
Ninth Gate's really. I love the Ninth Gate. It's such a slow burn, and it keeps like it just. It's not full of jump scares, and there's nothing like explicitly like about it, but like it works for me.
It's got some of the DNA to me of The Devil Rides Out, which is one of my favorite all-time horror movies, where it's just like you said, slow burn. It isn't going to end well. And it's coming to a head, but like all the antagonists are not overt about it. They're just like, hey, fuck around and find out,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's another movie in that vein too. I'm trying to think what it is though. It's a Val Lewton movie, and I can't think of the name of it. That has like this guy curses this like skeptic by putting a thing in his pocket, and then he realizes in order to get rid of this curse that's going to kill him, he has to give it to somebody else, but he's unwilling to, and he keeps trying to get it back to the antagonist, who's just like, no. I'm a little too smart for you to do that. And it's also got a great scene where they go to talk to the antagonist, who is a clown at a child's birthday party, and it's super, super creepy. Not just because of that, but like the conversation they have, because it's all just subtext. All the menace is underneath this very British conversation they're having, but you're like, these two are waiting to murder one another.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it. Maybe I'll be able to find it real quick. But yeah, it's a banger.
Yeah, I'd love to know what that is. That sounds awesome.
Got a famous like special effect at the end of it.
Oh, okay. Well, look that up. And then while you're doing that, I'm gonna throw up well, apparently it just got announced that they're going to have a sequel to this, but before I heard that, I'd put it on the list is Christine, the Killer Car.
Oh, don't do it.
Yeah, they're going to do a sequel, which I would have been like, it can work, and it could also like just be just the worst awful thing, but it's one of those ones where like I could take it and I couldn't take it at the same time. Because the story, that story, especially John Carpenter's treatment of it, it's perfect. It's that like has so many, like when they run down the bully in the alley, that like frightened the hell out of me. Like when I was a kid, that was like so shocking and so like, oh my God. And just seeing the turn of the main character go from just like the nicest little like bookwormy guy into just also this just horrible, awful 50s greaser hood from like out of time. It was wonderful. But yeah,
Night of the Demon. It wasn't Val Lewton, but it's Night of the Demon's a flick I was or Curse of the Demon, either one. Excellent flick. I really highly recommend it. It's a black and white flick. It's really good.
All right. Yeah. put that down.
Yeah, I know. I feel real strongly about King movies or King stories. Like, unless he wrote the sequel, unless there's intent. Like,
Okay.
I love Doctor Sleep, but
Oh
I
yeah.
love the book even more than the
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah. Oh
So,
yeah.
and it did a really great job of taking Kubrick's version and King's version and making them work together.
That's that Mike Flanagan for you.
Um,
Guy hits home runs. I just love that dude.
that
But yeah, like, well,
Trixie Flanagan.
saying that, what do you think of Pet Cemetery 2?
It's a
I have
so
a
I
big
don't
spot for it.
don't use this in a derogatory fashion,
Yeah.
but to me it's popcorn horror.
Oh, totally.
It lacks the creepiness of the original Pet Cemetery, because like that when Gage starts going all choppy, that's some scary shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Although I'll say Clancy Brown's performance in that kind of
but
elevates it a little bit.
it does, and because Clancy Brown is like Lance Hendrickson. If you have Clancy Brown in your movie, I'm probably going to be like,
Oh yeah.
oh, you got Lex Luthor in your movie?
Wait,
Hell
Mr.
yeah.
Krabs?
Yeah.
He's killing teenagers
Yeah.
and a zombie. Okay, all right, I'm there.
Like, did you see the Burrowers?
I have it on my list.
Burrowers
Yes.
is great.
Yes.
I have it on my
Burrower.
list as well.
Yeah. That's one that I think could definitely have become something, and saying that these movies could have had sequels, not necessarily have the big, like, crazy, like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, like Saw length of like sequel franchise kind of stuff, but like a 2, 3, make it to a third movie. I could definitely see that happening.
I think for me, it's more like I wanted more. Like,
especially, yeah, like, yeah, with a movie, especially like Burrowers, where it doesn't have that big budget, like, so like
there's not enough westerns horror,
and also Western horror. Yeah, that's another genre that really could use a lot more love. Like, just off the top of my head, I think of Burrowers, Bone Tomahawk, Dust Devil,
Yep.
And then it kind of starts drying up a bit until, like, unless you want to talk about like really schlocky.
There's like I can never remember what the name of it is. I remember watching it with my dad on there was a channel in Kansas City that was like had like the Saturday,
Yeah.
or, late morning, early afternoon double feature, and it was always, there was an Italian Western that was a horror as well, and I remember it because it was weird because it was like taking place during winter.
Oh.
So it was like all these weird, very Italian things going on.
Yeah.
And I just remember it being a movie that I was like, I don't even know if it holds up because I can't remember what it was called, but I remember watching it and having like the idea of it, really imprinting like that idea on me. Like, oh God, this is really cool.
Yeah.
So, but I think the Italians also, they just did a lot of weird stuff.
Just for the sake of weirdness sometimes too.
Japan as well.
Also see Japan.
Also see Japan.
See the movie House, the Japanese version of House, if you haven't. It's just all the flying heads and stuff. Yeah,
I love that.
I love it's just yeah.
House was a movie I'd never seen before this year as well, and it blew my mind.
Oh, what a treat!
It was. I was like, this movie is wonderful. If I saw this movie as a kid, I would have been like, I don't do drugs, but I'm going to start.
No, like I saw that at a young age. Probably like my sister got into a really weird phase because I have a sister who's 4 years old. And so she'd get like she'd dictate a little bit of my taste sometimes, like with bringing cool stuff in that she'd learn about and we'd somehow be able to find in Hibbing, Minnesota. But yeah, like there was that, and then she also introduced me to Naked Lunch at a really, that movie. I was like,
she must have been like, hey, when you go like a year older, let's just get wasted.
No,
that's totally LSD in the garage, and watch some fucked up stuff.
Oh yeah, and like no, I remember, and she had that group of friends. They were, they'd get together and watch the movies, and they'd riff on them and stuff, and. Yeah, no, like Naked Lunch, House, Castle Freak. I was seeing some wild shit.
Yeah, you were. That's awesome. My dad was that person for me. Yeah. I saw Halloween when I was 7.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It fucked me up so bad.
Yeah.
But like my dad also, like, I guess, Godzilla movies. That was something that we watched
Oh yeah.
together.
Hmm.
All that, like all that weird stuff. Like I said, magic is his fault. My
Yeah.
fear of puppets.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. My
but
dad got me into like Near Dark, Big
yeah,
Trouble in Little
yeah.
China, all that great stuff. It's just like, thank you.
Heavy metal was something I got into because of my
Yeah.
not just the movie, but like actual like Black Sabbath and stuff
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But that was a
Yeah.
weirdo. He would go see like Led Zeppelin one weekend, and the next weekend he'd go see James Brown.
Oh,
So like
that sounds like my dad. No,
yeah,
like,
it was just
yeah.
like all just very eclectic. But like
Uh-huh.
as we got older, anytime Army of Darkness came on, it could be like 2 a.m, and you just catch the beginning, be like, oh, guy was stay up watch a movie.
Yeah, yeah. He introduced me to Evil Dead and stuff. That
Yep.
was like a big cult favorite between my uncles and my dad and stuff.
Mystery
I
Science Theater too.
Yeah.
That was from my dad.
That's something
I
that
was in
my
college. He started sending me tapes.
no way,
Yeah,
really? Oh,
sending me VHS tapes. It was the best.
that's awesome. That's super cool. Yeah.
Speaking of which, one that I would be remiss if I didn't point out there's something that I watched with my dad and watched repetitively with my dad that falls in that Army of Darkness vibe is Bubba Hotep. I wanted more. I wanted that Bubba Nosferatu that they talked about repetitively.
Yes.
Bubba Hotep is another just weird ass fun movie that it's got everything you want from it.
With a surprisingly passionate and deep performance from
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell
And Ozzy
as
Davis.
Ozzy Davis, but like
He kills it.
Campbell's finding the pathos in this character and is bringing it. It's really disarming at points where you're just like, oh, I'm feeling feelings.
Is that Don Coscarelli?
Yes, yeah,
Man.
that guy's awesome. Of Phantasm fame. Yep.
That's another one I saw way too young. Was the first two Phantasm movies.
That first one.
You should not see that before you're until you're after 10 years old. And I remember seeing those very young and being like, why?
That messed
why
me
are
up.
we doing? Yeah, why are you making me watch this?
Yeah. Oh god, that was something that was.
Jaws was another one. I saw Jaws when I was like 5, and I've had a total fear of the ocean since then.
I still, if I'm even swimming in a fresh lake, I'll just be like, you remember, I'll have to like kind of have this dialogue of like, Colin, it's just a movie, and like, because it's just like, oh, but there could be piranha. Remember piranha? Freshwater piranhas. Like,
so we would go to Texas like every summer to the Gulf because my mom's uncle, so my great uncle, had a beach house on Crystal Beach, was just like a stone's throw off of Galveston. So we would go there like for a week every summer.
Yeah.
And the last time I got in the ocean, we were like a girl had lost her leg in 3 feet of water like a month before we were there, and we were swimming and we were like maybe chest deep. I think I was like sophomore in high school, and I saw a fin and like a little fin, and I got out of the water. I'm like, never again.
Oh yeah, I would have been
never got back in the ocean
for the beach. I just like
I was like, I'll just go like sit on the beach the rest of the time we're here. The other thing I remember about those trips is every year we went during the NBA finals.
Ooh.
And my dad was a Boston Celtics fan and I was a Los Angeles Lakers fan. So it was like a hate fest the entire week, stuck in a beach house together, just
sniping at each other.
Just sniping. just hating on one another.
But in the best way possible.
Yeah.
A sneak one in here for Clark.
It is.
Let's say
you're not wrong, Mitch.
Demon Knight.
So do you consider that to have a sequel though? Because technically that little object is in Bordello of Blood.
Yes, yeah.
And there's a third one too. I don't remember what it is though.
They did a third? I heard they
did.
Okay. I don't know.
Billy Zane kills in that movie. I know that's where you're going, and you're dead on right.
Billy Zane kills everyone. Everyone's rocking in that movie. William Sadler is great.
Movie, yeah.
Jada Pinkett's so fun in that. Is it CCH Pounder or is it yeah, like when she gives the guy the finger, but her arm's missing. He's like, "What is that? A yes?" And she's like, "No, I'm giving you that." It's just like, all right, yeah.
Mitch, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah, no, okay. Death Becomes Her. That's a movie that needs to be talked about a lot more. Apparently, getting remade.
I don't want to see it remade. That movie it's one of those that stands on its own. Doesn't need a remake.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't.
It's a great horror comedy.
If they could even just make it half as fun, I'll welcome it in a kind
I'll
of
watch
like,
it.
all right.
I mean, yeah, I'll give it a try.
But yeah, oh my god, Death Becomes Her. That was that one like horror movie that like even my mom loved because she didn't realize it was a horror movie, you know. So it was just like, yeah, all right.
It's got a hocus pocus vibe to it.
It does. Oh yeah, totally, totally. And Bruce Willis is wonderful.
Is there a different cut out there of it, Mitch?
Yeah, I have no
I didn't know that. Yeah, it sounds cool. I would also like to see that. That's a fun movie. That's a 3 actors who are completely on board with what they're doing and they go for it, and it's really fun because of that.
And like and kind of all playing a little bit against type, you know, like
For sure.
Streep is usually like the every woman, and this one she's like the glamorous, like ma, you know, like she's untouchable. Then you got oh my god, I'm totally blanking on her name. Goldie Hawn, just like just so mousy, and when she like you see what happened with her life, and she's just, oh my gosh. And then Bruce Willis, big, you know, macho action stars, just this little like, okay dear kind of, it's just wonderful. It's just
completely emasculated.
Yeah, and what wonderful comic chops he has. And just like, oh, you should have done more. Should have done more with that.
People forget that he was, he did a lot of
moonlighting
stuff.
Moonlighting is great.
Hey, thanks, Neb Shapiro. I'm doing all right. Hope you're doing well.
Test cut that had a different. What was the framing device, Mitch?
Yeah, now I really want to know. Interesting. That's I mean, just overall, that's an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna hit another one I wanted more of.
Yeah.
Dark Was the Night.
Oh, Dark Was the Night.
It actually ends on basically a cliffhanger.
I don't know if I know this one.
It's a good little flick. Oh, that would have been cool if Bruce Willis telling the story in a bar. That'd be great. I did watch Mad God, and it was great. It was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was like a hour and 20-minute long Pink Floyd video. That's interesting. I didn't know that, Mitch. I really want to see that now. I bet that's really fun. Huh. So
I've seen this. Yeah. No, great movie.
Yeah, really, really good. It's got the guy from he's been in a lot of stuff, but I always remember him now from The Strain.
Yes, he's the badass Russian guy in The Strain. Yeah. He was one of the heavy bad guys in later seasons of Lost. Once you see his face, though, you're like, that guy.
He's really good in that movie, as far as like the dad who is on like the brink of a full breakdown.
Oh, totally. Yeah, just beleaguered. Yeah.
I didn't love the monsters. I liked the monsters. I liked more of the idea of them than actually their CGI.
Yeah.
But I liked the Night of the Living Dead argument that's going on at the end of like, we should hole up in the basement. We just have to make it till night. And it was like, yeah, if we go down there, we ain't coming back out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that is a great movie. Oh, that's I would love to see more of that. And a really good cast.
It ends with like, you don't know how it ends. It ends like with a cliffhanger.
Kind of almost like The Thing in a way, with that, like you're like, okay, what's up? Who's left? Are they like what's going like and it's just like, we're not going to give you the answers. Enjoy.
We'll just sit here and see what happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, good call.
That's another one that it's definitely a B movie.
Yeah,
but it's a highly enjoyable B movie, and I don't consider anybody in that movie like a great actor, but they're pouring their heart and soul into that.
Mhm.
And it's got a certain amount of like menace to it. The fact that they don't like show you what the thing is for a good
Yeah,
long
I
time.
appreciate that a lot. Yeah,
But
I
like
like
the
that.
whole vibe of like when the hunter tells them like, well, there's no game. What do you mean there's no game? Like there's no animals in the
Yeah,
woods right now. Like
they're
they're
gone.
all gone.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and
It's
you
it.
see those birds flying. And he goes, oh, you know, he goes, so the main character says something, and then the deputy looks. He goes, those birds aren't flying south. That's north.
Yeah,
They're running from
from
something.
something.
That's
Yep.
not. Yeah, that's not a migration.
Yeah, I love those moments too, where like someone's given that key little bit of information where it's like, no, this is everything's not right, and it's just those little nothing major and big, like, oh, we gotta go do this. It's just like that's unnatural. What's happening right now? That's not what they
Yeah,
should.
it's
Yeah,
an
I
exposition drop without being an exposition drop.
yes,
So
perfect.
there is a kind of slightly off topic, but on topic.
Yeah,
Um, Max Brooks, who wrote World War Z, he also wrote a book called De- De-Evolution.
oh, I don't know
Um,
about that one.
with all Max Brooks books, first of all, get the audiobooks because they're his version of the movies.
Oh, I've
Um,
never done the audiobooks for any.
the
I've got
audiobook for World
all
War
the zombie
Z
stuff.
is amazing. It's
Ooh,
incredible. The cast is unreal.
I'll have to check
Um,
that out.
but the same thing is for De-Evolution. The cast is insane, but it's
Okay.
also told very similar as far as like it's a reporter who is doing a story on this little tech town
Uh-huh.
on a mountain that the mountain was like it's one of the mountains and it's like I think it's Mount Rainier. It erupts and no one can find anybody from the town. And what you find out is it's because the eruption forced the big feet off the mountain and they hit this town and then it becomes like it's on the fight for some
Oh,
it's these like tech people who like have all their food and everything droned in who are like working for this company like puts this town together, so it's a town totally built on technology. It's not even really a town, it's like a village of like 30 people.
okay, yeah.
uh, and then these I mean it's
That
awesome.
sounds awesome. Like,
It's a really it's super freaky. It's really really, one might say it is a super freak baby. It's really good.
I enjoy that too. That like, I love when people find ways to make things that seem like, oh, that's kind of old hat, and like, no, it's really scary again. Like, that's cool.
Nathan Fillion is the main character in the
I love
audiobook.
him.
So the cool thing about World War Z is there's a different actor doing every chapter because it's the interviews.
Yeah, yeah. I love
So like
that.
Alan Alda, Henry Rollins.
Wow.
There's so many good people on that. It's excellent.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I love that. That book is fantastic. It's
And that
one of the
audiobook's
oh,
like 20 some hours long. Because there's the regular audiobook of it, and then there's like a second like thing that's like these additional like interviews that are like were like the lost tapes or
oh,
whatever.
is that like I don't know, because he's got World War Z, he's got the Zombie Survival Guide, and then there was that like
No, it's
other.
not the graphic novel he did,
Okay,
which is
okay,
also awesome.
yeah,
Especially when the zombies when the Romans fight the zombies.
yes,
That's really really awesome. That's so good.
I like that one a lot. Yeah,
So anyway, I'm sorry, we got off topic. Your turn.
yeah.
I've got that graphic novel if you ever want to borrow it.
I have it too.
Do
It's
you?
yeah,
It's
oh
real
yeah.
good.
I've actually been rereading the Zombie Survival Guide just this week, just because I don't know, it's fun. Another one I'd go over is kind of recent, Brightburn.
You know what? I have not watched Brightburn.
Ooh, I
I
loved
know.
it.
It's one of those movies that's on my list. I just have never been like in the mood to watch it. It looks exactly what it looks like something I'm gonna love. So
I love it. It's I mean, obviously it's like, what would happen if Superman was evil? It's basically Superboy Prime kind of a story. and it's great. It's awesome, and they tease such a like what's coming is just going to be the worst for the world, and it's like I kind of want to see that a little bit. Yeah, Superboy Prime turned to 11 for real. Yeah, he's like playing with people's guts and stuff, and just it's getting nasty. But
And it takes place in the
great.
same universe as his other one with Rainn Wilson.
No way,
Yeah,
really?
because they mentioned during the end of that movie, I
Super,
saw
isn't that just called
Super,
Super?
yeah,
Yeah.
where it's like whoever the conspiracy guy is doing the radio show starts talking about all these other people, and he
Yes.
mentioned the guy hitting people with wrenches.
Oh my
Yeah, Super's great. It is
oh
real
I
dark though. It is
it
real dark.
yeah. It's but yeah, oh my god, I now I have to go back and watch that. Like, oh wow, that's cool. That's cool. But yeah, I love Brightburn. It's so oppressively dark, like to the point where like you're uncomfortable at times because it's just like, oh, this is not going to go well for anyone, and it
It's a
doesn't. But
hopeless thing when you think about
yes,
it.
hopeless, completely hopeless, which is perfect for what it's doing. Where he's the anti-Superman kind of, where Superman is, it's a symbol of hope.
Did you
Um,
read Immortal Hulk?
oh yeah, big time.
There's kind of a little bit of that to it as well.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what it was. You're right. It was Michael Rooker. That's
yes,
Michael Rooker was the conspiracy guy.
you gotta
So
get Michael Rooker.
I'm gonna hit two then real quick.
Yeah, definitely.
For ones that I don't want to see another of
Yeah,
is Slither.
yeah,
Slither's perfect the way it is. It doesn't
yeah,
need anything more.
yeah.
It's a perfect send up of those types of movies like Night of the Creeps, which I actually wouldn't mind of seeing more. And the other one I would say is that I feel like I wanted more from, and I think they planned more until the studio really fucked everything up, was Nightbreed.
Oh yeah, Nightbreed was supposed to be a whole huge thing, if I remember right. Yeah,
Which
that.
is crazy because that book is not overly long either. But
No,
I
isn't
think,
that Cabal?
yeah,
Yeah, like,
which it's a great flick. I love that flick. The
oh
practical effects in it are wild.
yes, it's that world that he creates in there is just yeah, it's so fully realized. It's like a twisted monster version of Labyrinth. Like I feel when I'm watching it, I'm in this other place, and like
That's
this
a
is a
really
world
good,
that's
yeah.
fully lived in. And like,
Mitch, you ain't
um,
wrong. You ain't wrong.
and yeah, like, yeah, and for me also, the slasher figure in that, played by
Cronenberg, yeah.
Cronenberg, one of the most disturbing masks I think that in
Yeah.
all of horror movies. And yeah, I think that guy's creepy as hell. But yeah, definitely would love to have seen more of that. More of that for sure.
And it
Um,
ends in such a way where you're like, yeah, we're gonna get more of this. And then you
oh
never do.
yeah. Just isn't it like the dawn rises and like the monsters like we're safe. We got to find a new home, and
They're
I'll
hiding in a
help you.
barn, and
Yeah, yeah.
Boone's like, I'm gonna go find us a new Midian.
Midian. That's yeah.
I love that movie.
It's good.
The book it's not my favorite by far Barker work, but I have a really soft spot for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Shallows. Shallows was yeah, I like The Shallows. That was a fun shark movie.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. Scarlet Gospels is
Yeah.
also that's fantastic reading. Yeah.
Europe?
Okay. Let's go with Bones, starring Snoop Dogg. Just because Snoop Dogg was in a horror movie, there should have been a whole franchise. I'm sorry. It's not even the best movie, but he can turn into a Doberman.
It's no Ganja and Hess, and it's no Sugar Hill.
Oh, Ganja and Hess is great.
Ganja and Hess is amazing. So Sugar Hill.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Day Shift.
Oh, is he?
Oh,
I don't remember
that's
that.
a fun movie. Yeah, that's more
Day
recent.
Shift and Night Shift are both interesting.
Wait, are they?
Yeah, they're. I think there's a third book in that series as well.
Oh
They're based.
wow.
I think they're done by a Russian novelist.
because yeah, isn't night shift's Russian, isn't it?
I believe they both are.
Yeah. Wow. I had no clue. But yeah, I enjoyed Day Shift. That was fun. That was a fun little romp. Another thing that you could kind of do a bit of a sequel to, although I don't think you really need to, would be Arachnophobia.
Interesting.
It was there if you wanted to, but also like very, it skirts the line for me. You could make a sequel out of it, but also leaving it alone as it is, but also I just love that movie so much, and I think we should talk about it more because it's so good. But although I think I remember maybe hearing that they want to try to do a reboot of it or something.
Ugh.
I don't know why, but
Creatively
yeah,
bankrupt. That's why.
yeah. And then another thing I'll throw up there is Altered States.
Oh damn! Woo! That's a great flick.
Yeah. I thought they could always, if they could keep it just as juicy and philosophical as the first one, you could have found someone who maybe even his girlfriend came over his notes and stuff like that, and then they went through it. But also, it's another one that skirts the line.
What was the series on Fox where it was parallel worlds?
Fringe.
Fringe to me had a very much like it felt like Fringe and Altered States occupied a very similar world.
Yeah.
So, and I liked that. That's one of the things
I love Fringe. Yeah, my wife and I were big fans of that. But yeah, like Altered States is just that, like, it's just a mind fuck. Like you're just like you're watching this guy devolve, and also like there's all these weird like religious imagery with like the goat with the many eyes, and it's just you're just like what?
The black goat of the wood with 1,000 young.
Yeah, it's a fan. Yeah, like I love Altered States, and
it's a great movie.
I would definitely welcome another. I love horror that like it's more food for the mind than anything else. It's you're not like necessarily like thrilled by it or really even full out what you could say like, oh, that was an entertaining film, but it has so many weighty ideas that it just stays with you, and that's Altered States for me. And I would welcome more of that for sure.
I think Annihilation falls into that category as well.
Good call.
Where it's just like you leave it going, or Color Out of Space also, where it's just like, oh, so this is not going to go well for humanity.
Yeah.
I
also throw Life up there.
Oh wow, yeah.
Fun movie.
I've got 2 left on my wanted more, so I'm just going to do them.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
One has already been remade, and I would say that I think the remake might be better than the original, but the original isn't bad either, and that's George Romero's The Crazies.
Oh, I'll say Crazy's remake is superior.
Yeah, I loved that movie. I really like the old one too, but it ends definitely with like, this ain't over.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that just concept is disturbing on a level that.
Yeah, the government put something in the water and it went out of hand, and yeah.
Well, Color Out of Space is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The other one in my I wanted more is a movie called The Headhunter.
Yes.
And part of the reason is because it's very short. The other reason is there's probably only 50 lines of dialogue in it. There's a movie similar to it as far as like in that tone. It's there's a movie where these I can't remember the name of it. It's got Mads Mikkelsen in it, where they are the Vikings that reach the New World. Yes. It reminds me of kind of that. So the whole thing with The Headhunter, and I believe it was made like by some people in like Norway or something.
Yeah.
Is there's this guy whose daughter's been killed by a monster. And so now he hunts monsters. But you never see him fight the monsters. You only see the aftermath, which is crazy smart and keeps the tension really high because he never finds the monster he's looking for.
Yeah.
But like you see him like using parts of monsters to heal himself, and like it's creepy. It's shot really well.
Yeah.
It's very intense, and it's Like there's a scene where he's going through this cave and the cave's like super tight, he almost has to turn sideways, and he's all armored up. It's
And his
really good.
armor is pretty frightening too. Like
Yeah,
he almost looks like something out like from the Predator, like but like with the most like hard,
very
rough medieval edges to
yeah,
it.
very Viking. You
Yeah.
know, everything he kills, he put the head on a spike or he sends it to the king, and it's really really fun. And I
Yes.
was just like, I wanted more out of that world. Like that
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
I felt like we were just getting a taste of it. And I was like, oh, tell me more about this. You know, it's a
Definitely.
very fun movie. It's very visually enticing, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I think it's on Shutter right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're. Yeah. Yeah. Shutter's really been killing it lately. They're
And
doing
Shutter's
awesome.
like $6 a month. It's the best $6 a month I
Yeah.
spend on any streaming service.
I'll throw another one up. One that could be like you could. There could be a sequel for this, but I say don't. It's good as it is. One that I don't know if a lot of people even consider it horror, but I do. Mothman Prophecies.
Yeah.
Movie scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Like, just I remember the first time I watched it. It was a dark, stormy night, legitimately, and the wind whipped so hard it like threw the front door open of my house.
I thought for a second you were going to go into the Jack Burton speech. Bounces your favorite head against the back
Against the
of the
back of the
wall.
wall.
It
Have you
says, "Have you
paid your
paid your
dues,
dues?
Jack? Yes, sir. The check
Check
is in
is
the
in the
mail.
mail."
uh, that should have gotten a sequel, even though not really horror movie.
They talked about rebooting it a bunch. For a while, The Rock was attached to it.
Yeah, and John Carpenter's like, "Give me my paycheck." I love his attitude about remakes. Like, yeah, whenever they want to do a remake, I put out my hand and money falls into it. He's like, "It's the greatest."
He's talked about wanting to do something with The Thing again.
Yeah, did you now? They did like a video game to the thing
I
back in the
played that
day,
video game. It's awesome. He
and
loved that.
yeah, I remember him putting his seal of approval all over that and being like, "Oh yeah, no, this can be." So, do you consider that a sequel? Is it canon to you? Is it canon?
It's as much canon as the prequel is.
Yeah, yeah.
That prequel, I think if they would have done practical effects, it had some legs,
Have you
but
seen
Harbinger down.
the effects house that did, and like they have all the um
And then they did that movie Harbinger Down so they could use those effects.
oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I should look that up.
And that
Okay.
movie sucks, but the special
Oh
effects
really?
are fun.
Oh
Because it makes you go, oh man, I wish we would have got this.
yeah.
Because I feel like the story and the prequel is good, even though
It
you're like,
is.
I know how this is going to end. But they just so
Yeah.
drastically shit the bed with the special effects are just bad.
Yeah. No, they legit are, to the point where it's like, oh, this is a cartoon I'm watching here at this point. But yeah, no, there's awesome parts in that movie. Like when the blonde dude from Not Another Teen Movie gets like glommed onto and it starts, that's legitimately terrifying, like being absorbed while you're alive.
Or figuring out about the teeth, about the fillings, that it can't emulate the metal.
Replicate. Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
I was like, that's super smart. And I love the short story Who Goes There.
Mm.
And I think the original big version of that's called Frozen Hell. I don't know if it's out or not, but they were going to they found all of his work for that to put out like a bigger version of it.
Oh wow.
I can't remember the name of that. Is it no Robert Chambers wrote The King in Yellow. I can't remember the dude's name.
Teeth is a fun movie too.
Teeth is, yes, very much so. I enjoy Teeth. Teeth and horns and kind of those.
Horns, yeah.
I've got Idle Hands on my list as something that
I have Idle Hands on here as well.
Don't remake don't do a sequel to Idle Hands. I really liked that. Really liked it.
Yeah, it would have been a bad sequel too. You know, they would have, yeah, if they ever did one. A movie I would, just because I've watched it recently, but I would welcome so much a sequel, is Rumpelstiltskin 1995, starring Max Grodenchik from Deep Space Nine. Like, Black Phone. I'm obsessed with that movie, Mitch. It's
I have
fantastic.
not seen Black Phone yet. I am very, very excited to watch it though. And
Yeah,
Horns is fun. I mean, it's not fun because it's kind of fucked up, but I mean, it's a good flick. It's well
yeah,
acted.
yeah. I like seeing Radcliffe. He's ever since he's done his Harry Potter stuff, he's like really been about like I'm going to prove myself on each and every project, and it's
You
been
seen the
pretty fun.
trailer for Imperium yet? Where he is an undercover
I
FBI
have that
agent.
movie actually. Yes, yeah.
Ooh. But I think Elijah Wood is the same way.
Come to Daddy.
Come to Daddy. What a fucking head
Maniac.
trip that. Yeah. Oh my. Woo, you
But
talk
Come to
about like
Daddy was so good.
Come to Daddy was fucking whoa.
Yeah. Like
That to me had the same vibe as like Creep and Creep 2 did, where it was just like you're gonna be maximally uncomfortable the entire watch, and you're gonna love every second of it. Because both those Creep flicks are like that. You're just like, Mark Duplass is just, yeah.
And also like just a shout out to Creep, like what a simplistic kind of like look for a villain, and it totally is so terrifying. It's so, oh my god.
Yeah,
man.
if you haven't seen Creep, either one of them, see them both because I think they're gonna do a third one.
Oh, I'd hope. I would.
And those movies, they said those movies cost them next to nothing to make.
Well, yeah, like how very few actors. Location is kind of just set right there for like, yeah. And
a lot of it's kind of found footage, but not really.
Especially that first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of it's improv too, which I love.
Yeah, Duplass does a lot of that, doesn't he? Yeah.
Safety Not Guaranteed is another really great one that he did.
I like that.
And The Ones We Love.
The Ones We Love. I don't know.
Oh, that's another one. It's really good. It's Mark Duplass and his wife get told by their couples counselor that they need to go to this weekend retreat he does. And when they're there, the people they meet there are younger versions of themselves, literally. And then everything isn't what it's. So it's like them like 10 years younger.
Oh, whoa.
And it is not at all what it seems. And the wheels come off at the end.
Okay.
It's so good. It's super funny, but it's real fucked up because it's like, it's because like the wife is missing like the young vitality that he used to have. They used to have before he got older and got kind of more serious, less fun. And the younger version of her is like, oh, look how grown up you are, type of thing. And it's just like,
oh,
it's really good. Highly recommend The Ones We Love. I think I want to make sure that's what it's called. Let me look really quick.
Yeah, I'm looking up too. The Ones We Love, yeah, or The One I Love.
Is it called The One I Love?
With him and what's her face from Mad Men, Elizabeth Moss.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I've seen that. The art for that, a bunch. I had no idea that was kind of a sci-fi kind of spoopy movie. Okay,
it's really good.
I'll have to check that out. But yeah, Rumpelstiltskin I want to see more of because
it's an interesting choice.
It's super duper cheesy, and it tried so hard to be funny Freddy with Rumpelstiltskin.
But to me, it falls in that same category as like Warlock. As
I love the first two Warlocks. I'll say that.
As Waxwork, I love Waxwork. There's a bunch of those movies around the same time period. I can't remember the one with the genie in it. Wishmaster.
Wishmaster, yeah.
Those movies all kind of fall into a similar category. Again, kind of that popcorn horror, that beautiful B movie, that you're like, yes, this is like, I could watch this all the time.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's very fun. It's like,
totally. I mean, especially for the line, Rumpelstiltskin is driving this big 18-wheeler and he's chasing a guy in a go-kart. The 18-wheeler goes off a cliff and Rumpelstiltskin goes, fucketh me, before it explodes into a big ball of fire. that movie had me right there. I was just like, okay, yeah, no, this is one for my heart forever.
The rest of mine are one and dones.
Okay.
So that I don't want to see sequels to. So the first one is Life Force.
Yeah,
Life
that's on my
Force,
list, and that's one that there's a bit of it. They kind of tease it could go there, but you don't need to at all.
it's such like that movie is wild.
I would like to see more of that movie, though. To be honest, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's
At
got
least for
it's
London
such a
going to shit. I would
oh
love
my
a few
god,
more
that is
scenes
one
of
of the greatest. Like you're in the midst of the shit going down. It's to me, it's like the first 15 minutes of Dawn of the Dead on steroids.
Oh yeah, and
It's you're just like holy fuck, like that movie is also like. Have you ever seen any of the Quatermass stuff?
I don't think so.
So there was a bunch of movies like I want to say they were in the 60s. It was by I think Terry Nation also wrote that because I think he also because they mentioned Dr. Quatermass in Doctor Who as well.
Mhm.
It's all about this like kind of hard-boiled, two-fisted scientist guy.
Yeah.
And the stories don't have happy endings
Okay.
ever. Like Quatermass in the Pit is generally the one people talk about because I think Hammer did that. But
Okay.
they also did like an up right before they rebooted Doctor Who. They did like a mini series of a Quatermass story as well. They're really good. They're like good sci-fi, but there's always like there's always that hint of like humanity hanging on by a thread because of the shit we don't know that's going on around us. And I like Quatermass's like, the very, very pessimistic scientist who doesn't mind punching people in the face. But Life Force to me feels like it's a Quatermass story without Quatermass.
Yeah.
It's a really pretty flick for the time it was made. It's absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just saying it because the main actress walks around naked like all the movie.
She does.
But it's just really and you get to see Patrick Stewart like make out with a dude. It's awesome.
Does, yeah. And I think yeah. It's wonderful. Great matte paintings in there and stuff. And this like even though some people point at like some of like the like zombie like work as like a little I love it.
I love that flick.
It's so good and yeah, like it's so out of left field. There's so many things like space vampires in London and they make zombie. Okay, but it
also
it
by Toby Hooper.
Toby Hooper, yeah. Which he
I can't remember what he turned down to go do this.
I think it was
a big movie, and he was like, "Nah, I got this other thing going on." I don't remember what it was.
I can't either. I want to say it was going to be the horror movie that E.T. originally was supposed to be, and then Spielberg scrapped that to make it nice. But I'm not sure. Because that was actually a thing. E.T. was actually supposed to be a horror movie. And then they decided to go the good route, which worked, I guess. One that I'll throw up there as having potential, but don't want to see it kind of expounded upon at all, is Under the Skin.
Ooh.
With Black Widow herself, Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, if you've ever seen that, it's incredibly moody, very alien movie about an alien just hunting down these like lonely guys all throughout like Scotland.
It's like a way better version of Species.
Yes. Oh my, that's yeah. And she takes them back to these places and like just like leeches them of all their humanity in every way possible until they're like just these husks in this weird black amorphous zone of nothingness.
Like a very Stranger Things.
Yeah. Oh, like imagine the Upside Down scarier. Yeah. That's what it is. And yeah, that's a movie that I've brought up where it's legit like ended good conversations because people have such strong feelings against that. I remember
Really?
I was getting massage once, and the masseuse brought up Spring, which was the kind of Lovecraftian a little
I love
bit.
that movie. It's a great
Yeah,
movie.
really good.
My wife and I watched it. I tricked her into watching it, and she's like, "That was not a horror movie. That was totally a rom com with some horror."
And I was just like, oh, well, good. Oh, terrifying. Was that Mitch? Was that what the Spielberg was going to be? I'm pretty sure. I think that is.
Wasn't that because he wanted to do Invaders from Mars, but someone already had it in
Oh, I'm not
turnaround?
sure.
Because I know he
Didn't
was like he liked those like that's why he did War of the Worlds. He was huge into like those
I like his
flicks.
World of Worlds too? Yeah. And also Invaders from Mars. Isn't that? Didn't Toby Hooper do that?
I believe he did.
That's a fun movie too.
Yeah.
I that's just
I'd
madcap.
forgotten that Life Force originally was supposed to be a remake of Bava's Space Vampires,
Oh, that makes sense.
which is a movie that Ridley Scott ripped off a lot of for Aliens. Especially when you find out what Dan O'Bannon's script was actually like.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
I can't find what he turned down. It's driving me nuts.
There was something big that it would have been one of those things. It was something that was a feather in another director's cap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, like definitely love Under the Skin so much. But yeah, like I remember so she was talking about Spring, and I was like, oh, another female kind of centric movie I just saw that's kind of almost in the same genre. I was like, Under the Skin, and she's like, yeah, that wasn't. I was just like, oh,
Wow.
sorry. And like it just like you could just hear a pin drop all of a sudden, and like yeah, there's also this weird like tension. I was just like, okay, I guess
I wonder why people feel I've never had anyone get that like
it
frustrated by
just it
that.
really bothers people. Like I don't know why, but for some reason, yeah, it just like people just don't care for it for some reason. And I've never in person met anyone except for that one person, that one masseuse. But like I've been online, and a lot of people are just like, it's not for me. It's just it gives me an icky feeling, or like it just I don't. It's so bleak. It's so depressing. Which I'll those last two are very valid points. It is kind of a bleak, and you do kind of come away from it feeling very like, oh, okay, like yeah, but I love it. And yeah, I think it's one of those ones that has everything it needs to say, and it does it, and then it gets out of there.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that at all.
Yeah,
I think it's a good flick. I wish I
yeah,
could
oh yeah, it's just it's pure artistry, head to
yeah.
toe. It really is. I've never read the short story it's based on though, but I hear that's good, but a little more pulpy. Like you get a real sense of what she's about as an alien and what her species is and everything.
Hmm.
But I feel like the movie works even better because you're so out of the loop about what she's doing, really.
So according to this, it sounds like in a lot of ways, Life Force is a 70 millimeter remake of Hammer's Quatermass in the Pit. That's pretty great. I wish, and Dan O'Bannon wrote the script for it, which is crazy.
I
I
like
didn't
that Dan
realize.
O'Bannon.
I wish I could figure out what that movie was. Anyway, I can't. It's going to drive me nuts. I'll keep looking for it.
Yeah.
I have another one I thought was a great one and done. Is a movie called The Battery.
Yeah. Yeah. With the two friends doing the
The
zombie
two
apocalypse.
baseball players. Yeah,
Yes.
the two minor league baseball players who are stuck together. It's a zombie apocalypse. The thing it does really well is you don't see many zombies
Mm-mm.
until that ending.
Yeah.
But they're just two people, and it's more about the fact that they have been stuck together, and they're getting to the point where they can't stand one another.
Mm-hmm.
And it's starting to make them sloppy. And one reason they've been able to stay alive is because they're not sloppy.
Yeah.
And they're starting just to grate on each other enough where things are starting to turn bad. And you kind of getting this like, this is going to end poorly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a very interesting take on a zombie apocalypse with two characters that I wouldn't consider them to be overly likable.
Mm-mm.
And it's a
No.
very, very low budget movie, but it's very well done because they know they have no budget. So it's a lot of it's more implied than actually seen.
Yeah. In fact, the majority of it is them in that little like station wagon, right? But it works.
That's towards the end. There's like when
Oh
they
yeah.
find that, like the fact that they're basically camping out and they're carrying lawn chairs on their back, almost in baseball bats most of the movie. Yeah, it's got a really good like vibe to it, but it's
Hmm.
definitely pretty bleak.
Yeah. Yeah.
They do
I'm
a good
getting yeah.
job of making you give a shit about these two people and what they're like because they haven't been able to get a hold of anybody at home.
Hmm.
So they're both like hoping to get home and hoping that everything's okay. And they're starting to come to the realization that it's not and they won't get there.
Yeah.
And that's also like fraying on them. Yeah, it's an interesting flick.
Yeah. Yeah. Those like they're doomed from the outset, but they don't realize it until yeah.
I think
It's
it's like they're almost playing a trick on themselves.
oh totally.
And a lot of it has to do with like in a way with like that athletic mindset of people who get to that level of athletics.
Hmm.
Because like the one guy is was getting ready to get called up to the majors.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
it's like that, they've sacrificed all this stuff and they're kind of superstitious
Yeah.
and they're very focused. There's a lot of like
It's almost like
locker room back and forth, which
yeah.
also can seem very like if you've been in those types of locker rooms, especially like I always look at it this way. I played football in high school with my friends. I didn't play football in college with my friends.
Yeah.
That the number of people who I was friends with that I played football with in college, I can count on one hand.
Yeah.
I had a lot of acquaintances and
Hmm.
sometimes a lot of frenemies. It's just a different vibe, and you get that vibe from the two of them, where there is kind of some slight jealousy as well,
Yeah.
and it makes like this innate tension between the two. While on the whole that the tension from outside is just slowly tightening.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. No, totally. Yeah. That's a that's a great movie too. Like I'm glad you brought that up. I haven't thought about that in a while, but that's a gem of the zombies for sure.
It's a weird one too. Like I watched on a whim, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was one I randomly caught on Netflix, and like, yeah, you just get sucked into it, and then you're just like, oh, okay, yeah. It makes it, you really get drawn into that world, and it's
Yeah.
not a very big world to inhabit, but you are inhabiting it with them. Yeah, good call. Um, another one I could see a sequel for. Never got it. And I don't know how many people remember this, but
Shaggy
Hideaway,
Hideaway.
Jeff Goldblum, Jeremy Sisto, a very young Alicia Silverstone. It was 1995, before Clueless hit big. Jeff Goldblum and Jeremy Sisto are two people who die. They go to the afterlife. Jeremy Sisto goes
I
to
don't
hell.
remember this movie.
Jeff Goldblum goes to heaven, and then they both are brought back to life. Like, and they bring aspects of heaven and hell with them. Like they become
Ooh.
like avatars of good and avatars of evil. And they can also, because they share this link, they can see what each other is doing. So Jeff Goldblum is watching Jeremy Sisto do all these awful serial killing murders, and then Jeremy Sisto is seeing Jeff Goldblum going about with this nice, lovely family that he'd love to get to know a little better. And it's great. It's great.
I haven't seen that. Now I'm very interested.
Oh yeah, I won't spoil anything then. But yeah, Hideaway. It's very, very good, very good, and just that kind of world. It's like, oh, I would love to see more, and you could even put different actors into that and create kind of another thing.
So, kind of piggybacking on that is a movie called Fallen.
I was just gonna say that. Yes, Fallen. Go for it.
Fallen is low key great.
Oh,
there are
yeah.
so many good actors in that movie. It's wild. And Denzel Washington, Vincent D'Onofrio, John Goodman. God, that movie's packed.
Casey Jones himself, Elias Koteas, right in the beginning. Oh, and his scene. Only 5 minutes, maybe max screen time, but when he's dying, and they're filling that gas chamber up, and he's like holding his breath. It's just, oh my god, mwah. But Fallen, yes, tell the people.
No, I can't recommend that movie enough. It is a low key great movie. Like,
Yeah.
not a good popcorn horror. It's a great movie, and it's highly underrated. Like I said, there's so many great actors in it, and they all deliver good performances. It's got a very, very, very good ending that just you're like, okay, this is.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be redone. It doesn't need to be
No.
sequelized. It's a super solid.
Yeah. That movie. I remember that ending in the theater. Everyone just laughed like, oh, that kind of satisfied laughter. It was, yeah. Oh,
that ending reminded me of the ending of The Autopsy. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
Your
Definitely. One that I thought it's a lean, mean little movie. You could have sequelized it if you wanted to. I think it doesn't need it. Is I think it came out maybe 2008. It's called Murder Party. Have you seen that?
I have. That's a solid little flick.
Love that movie. This group of like really twisted art collective people, they decide, let's stage a murder, and they get the most hapless, just little everyman kind of like dork guy who wears his little cardboard knight armor, and he's got a cat named Sir Lancelot at home, and he randomly picks up this invitation to a murder party, and he goes, and just mayhem ensues, and it's Mr. Magoo almost if it was a horror film. Like, this guy is just wandering through utter chaos around him without really realizing what's happening.
Tucker and Dale, like.
Oh yes, and Tucker and Dale. That's another one and done. That perfect little flick right there, and all the tropes that plays with too is so fun. Tucker and Dale is that's a modern classic. I feel like.
I'm getting low, but I got a couple more.
Yeah.
Phantom of the Paradise.
Never seen this. Never.
Oh shit, it's good. It's very
it's
good.
One that's on my radar, and it's something I don't know why I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, dude, there's
those movies out there like that. That was a movie I did not see until probably like 4 years ago.
Okay.
Where it was one of those two where I would say that to somebody and they go, "How the fuck have you not seen this?" Like, this is like, it's a De Palma movie, first of all, but secondly, I mean, it's basically Phantom of the Opera except for rock and roll, maybe. And the costumes, and like, it's really good.
Yeah, it's
really, really good.
I've only heard like amazing things about it, and that it's one of these classics. But yeah, I don't know, availability or whatever. I've just never been able to catch it for some reason. Yeah,
it's visually stunning. It's one of those, like,
De Palma really.
Yeah, the costuming. It's just it's got a lot going on.
For sure,
a veritable feast for the eyes.
My list is winding down pretty well too. One recent I would have loved, it doesn't need it, but I would welcome a sequel, is the Belko Experiment. I thought that was fun. Very close to another movie that came around the same time called Mayhem.
Yep.
Starring Stephen Yeun, but either of those, a really good concept of like a sinister corporation doing sinister stuff and seeing what the result will be.
Have you watched Severance?
Yes. The British, let's go take a weekend retreat to Sarajevo or whatever.
I'm thinking about the series. I believe it's on HBO.
Oh, the series. Yes. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. Have you seen the one I was talking about though?
I think so.
Oh, it's this wonderful little horror comedy where these this English company goes on this retreat into Eastern Europe, and the retreat ends up being like a bunker for a bunch of war criminals who are still like out and about. There's one character in it who's obsessed with the question, if your head's cut off, will you still like, see stuff afterwards? And I'll just say he finds the answer. But yeah, it's a wonderful movie if you get a chance. That Severance, but also the Severance on HBO is very, very good too. Yeah, I love that.
My next one is a movie called Pontypool. So
Brilliant
Pontypool
idea.
is I think it's based on a play, which would not surprise me at all. It's a one
It's very
setting movie, and is a guy playing I can't think of the actor's name, who's great in it.
Stephen McHattie is the actor.
Yeah,
He was, if you
he's been in a
saw
lot of great stuff.
what I first remember him from was he's the older of the two villains in the opening of A History of Violence when they attack the diner.
Yeah. So
But he's
a
great.
disc jockey in this small town,
yeah.
and an outbreak happens, like a zombie apocalypse type thing. What you find out is it's transmitted by words.
It's language based.
It's language based. And
genius.
So he is on like in a sound booth, and you don't get to see anything. It's all about him hearing about it and relaying it. And it's really good.
Yeah.
And it's also like, it's kind of a hopeful movie.
I was just gonna say that, very hopeful ending. Like the way the way
really, because he's like kind of an unlikable piece of shit guy.
Yeah. Oh, he's your classic heel.
He finds his humanity like in this worst moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really well done. It is very much like a stage play because there's only like one location and there's only a few actors. The sound design is awesome.
And it's very verbose. It's very wordy. You can tell this was a writer just having his lunch and loving it while he made this screenplay. But yeah, when language based virus and just so genius, and that final little soliloquy he gives while he's on the radio, kind of trying to get the message, like so beautiful, really, and hopeful. Like it's a wonderful movie. I remember seeing, like, I was like, oh, whatever, Pontypool, that sounds kind of a funny. I think that's what got me to watch it, was just the strange sounding name.
The cover of the box too, with Stephen McHattie being like,
oh yeah, yeah. And but yeah, that was a sleeper surprise for me. Like, wonderful movie, good.
And it does have some Night Vale. You can tell Night Vale definitely took a little bit from this, but I would also say it's very like British sci-fi horror. Like there's definitely some Grant Morrison has definitely probably taken a little bit from this.
Yeah.
It's definitely got a little bit of like that Invisibles vibe to it, as far as like the concept, the conceit of the virus.
Yeah,
it's really good.
And how they think that maybe they can get around the virus. It's so out of the box for the zombie genre, and it's so welcome that it is too. It's
no blood. There's like, I think there's a little bit of blood, but not any like the way you're thinking it's going to be.
Yeah. If I remember, like, if I remember right what you're talking about. Yeah. And very light on zombies, but it works. It completely works. It really does.
It is tense. That movie is tense.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when he starts to get the phone call from the guy out in the field. And it just, you're like, oh God, and you can just hear screaming everywhere. And it makes you go, I want to see what's going on. But part of me definitely doesn't want to see what's going on.
Yeah, and also what your head is doing,
filling in worse,
for those screams. Oh yeah. And that's, I love that when like directors or writers are just confident enough to be like, you know what, the audience is going to make even more of a horror show than I could, but I'll just give them a little set dressing to let them fill it in. I love that. Oh gosh. Yeah, and let me see. Okay, I think, yeah, maybe kind of finishing out of stuff that I thought could have had a sequel. The Relic.
Yeah.
I like that. That was fun. Good creature feature.
kind of folk
Uh,
horror, but not really.
yeah. Having a monster running amok in the Metropolitan is a wonderful setting.
Oh, I'm thinking about the newer Relic,
Which one?
where the friends go out.
Oh, yes. No, that's fantastic. That one does not need a sequel. That's perfect. But
I know what you're talking about though. Doesn't it have like Michael Madsen in it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no,
That's
Tom Sizemore.
Tom
Tom
Size.
Sizemore
So
and
so
Virginia
Wish.
Madsen,
So
maybe.
Wish. Yeah, Michael Madsen.
Yeah, the Wish. Yeah, he's the
No, I like that
Michael
flick.
Madsen.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah, it's fun. And yeah, like you go back and watch it now, it holds up decently. Like it's got the early CG, so that's a little murky, but like what a fun thing where it's like the main conceit is like this tribe in the Amazon has this kind of safeguarded secret for this guardian that is this creature that watches over them, and what it is basically is this fungus that they give you in this tea, and it mutates you into this crazy monster that needs to go eat people's
like their.
hypothalamus.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that was like their liver or something.
Yeah, it's so good though. Like, and there might be a sequel in book form. I'm not 100% on that, but it was one of those movies I fell in love with it. Like when it came out to rent, I rented it all the time.
Yeah.
I had the movie tie-in book and everything, and yeah, it was wonderful.
The first Hellboy movie when Samuel in that is like to me it's like here's the 15-minute version of Relic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That has that kind of same feel. I really do like that.
Yeah.
And that one's kind of got a haunted house, like in like an alien haunted house in a spaceship feeling.
Yeah, because there's a lots of scenes set in like sewers and stuff where people are going through murky, watery tunnels, and people are getting pulled away out of the group, and everyone's panicking. It's
Mimic.
Mimic. Oh yeah, Mimic's great. Mimic's another good one.
So like I said, the rest of mine are one and dones. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 left.
Okay.
So
I've got about yeah, I don't know. I've got a few things on my list left, but I don't know how much we need to really. So yeah, if you want to go through yours.
So In the Mouth of Madness and They Live. I mean, I don't think I need to say a lot about that.
Yeah.
Both end perfectly, in my opinion. They're two of my favorite Carpenter movies.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
They Live.
There's a 14-minute fight scene in an hour.
I was just about to mention.
And Keith David in that movie. I mean, it's fucking phenomenal. It has so many good one-liners in it, but also is a devastating condemnation on American consumerism. And it was written because he was pissed off at Reaganomics, which makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Mouth of Madness, I think, is one of Carpenter's last great movies. Sam Neill is fucking fantastic in that movie.
Oh, you believe he's going insane.
And again, that ending is like, I feel like Carpenter did Cigarette Burns as like a companion piece to In the Mountains of Madness, or sorry, in the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah.
But I mean, it works. I really enjoy that movie. That's another one, a great one where the apocalypse is happening, but you just see the very aftermath of it because they're hiding out, And the aftermath of that apocalypse is way crazy.
That's like the inmates have taken over the asylum, like apocalypse, and it's just, like literally that happens too. And it's so good though. And also like Hobbs End and all that's like,
it's such a wonderful homage to Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Trick or Treat.
Which one?
The anthology version.
Oh, okay.
If they do another one, I'm fine with it. I don't want anything. I want Sam to be the only attachment.
Yeah. You don't. Yeah.
I think we haven't had enough good anthology movies, and I think that was probably one of the last really. The Mortuary one that just came out like a couple years ago with Clancy Brown was very good, But Trick or Treat is like another level. Trick or Treat's
Yeah,
really good.
yeah, yeah. Trick or Treat, you could put that up there with like Creep Show, with Tales from the Dark Side, the movie.
Yeah.
It stands next to those, like as being just completely solid. And yeah, anthologies, they don't get enough love as they should, and
I think it's because TV's gotten so good.
that yeah, yeah,
TV's
yeah,
like, oh, we don't have anthologies, we have seasons, so just watch TV.
yeah.
My last one is a New Zealand movie called Housebound.
Oh, I don't know about this.
The premise is there is a young lady who is a total fucking mess. She gets arrested a couple times, and her sentence at the end is being housebound on house arrest
Mm-hmm.
with her family. But weird shit's going on in their house. And you can't tell if there's a creepy neighbor or if it's supernatural. And it's all about her, like, because she's like a criminal. And
Yeah.
she does not like the idea of someone fucking with her. So she's like, oh, I can't leave my house? We'll see about that. Like all these creepy things are happening, and you have a heroine who's not like, oh no, I guess I'll have to rise up. You have a heroine who's like, let me go take my fucking drugs and get a hammer. It's really fun. That movie is fucking fun.
Oh, I've seen the poster for this a
Yes, it's
ton.
really fun.
Okay, yeah, I'm putting that on my Amazon watch list.
It
Perfect.
might be on Shudder. I think that's where I saw it was on Shudder. It's really fun.
Yeah,
I
I've
really enjoyed that movie.
yeah, yeah. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, dude. I'm really excited to watch that. That sounds awesome. That
It's
sounds
really
really
fun.
fun.
That's a movie I watched with Cassandra the first time I watched it, and she loved it.
Really?
Because
Okay.
there's enough humor, but also like you have a main character who's like not scared. They're more pissed than anything else. They're more like, how fucking dare you? If you're a ghost, how dare you? You know who you're fucking with? And that vibe really carries throughout, and
Yeah.
it's really fun. And it's like, it's got some twists and turns in it that are very good.
Okay. Right on. Yeah, like that sounds great. Um, and I think for my last two, I'll offer up one that I would like a sequel to, or could have had a bit of a sequel. Is Virus?
That's the Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was based on a comic. Yeah, that's an interesting flick.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Oh, wow. I didn't know that had source material. But yeah, I love that. It's. Some people make really stupid decisions in that movie, but you just have to chalk it up, whatever. Like Donald Sutherland, like he's got a whole plot line where he's like, "I'm this salty scrapper sea captain. I can talk to this alien intelligence, and it'll understand. I just want to make a few bucks and get out of here."
That's some Prometheus level decision making.
Yeah, yeah. But I also like Prometheus a little bit. But yeah, it's like the monsters in Virus are so great. It's all this biomechanical nastiness and stuff, and I thought it really could have lended to a little more exploration, and could have even had more of a. It could have gotten the aliens treatment if you considered Virus 1 as like Alien. You
That's
could
a
have
really
escalated.
interesting idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been a little bigger.
I mean,
And
but then you have to call in Tom Selleck to take care of that business.
ooh, I would have been down with that.
Because because of Runaway,
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. And then Gene Simmons, isn't he the
Yeah.
evil? Did they
That's
make
another
Virus?
one of those weird music. That's one of those weird movies that I also low key love is Runaway.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like Time Cop. I'm like, why do I like this movie?
yeah. There's those movies like you had to see them at a certain point in your childhood, and they just like stick. And then it's like,
You're
why
like, I
did I
know this
like
is
this?
bad. Like
Yeah,
almost every Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, where I'm like, I know this is inherently bad, but
yeah.
I also love it.
Oh, yeah. I had that experience with The Quest like 2 years ago. I was like, oh, this is the greatest movie. Did you ever see The Quest? Greatest movie. And then I rewatched it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? He's like a clown, and he's like, it's so weird. and he's like this Belgian guy, but yeah, no, he's Johnny from just around the block, don't you know? He's like, okay, kids.
I got a lot of movies like that from watching them during our bad movie nights growing
Yeah.
up, where I was like, things like Kill or Be Killed, where I was like, this movie's fucking awful, but because I watched it with my friends and I have like this inherent memory
Uh-huh.
of us laughing our asses off to a movie that has where a Nazi sets up a martial arts tournament with a former Japanese general to see who cost who the war in the Second World War. And then there's this fighter who gets like, tricked into being in the tournament, and his girl. I mean, there's a little person in it who's a karate guy. It's buck fucking wild, and I still to this day, if I see it, I'm like, I gotta watch me some Kill or Be Killed.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
terrible movie, but I'm just like, I'm in love with this terrible movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
And
there's
by the
just
way,
those.
Virus action figures, I think I kind of remember that.
I feel like I do too. Yeah.
Were they like Mezco or something like that, Mitch? Wasn't it like a more high end company did those? By high end, I don't mean like that puts their toys out on time, because Mezco, fuck you, I still want my D&D stuff. But more like, does big boy toys.
Big boy toys. And then the last thing I'll mention. This is one that it could have sequel potential, but I think it doesn't need it. It doesn't. Don't follow up on it. It's awesome as it is. Is Haunt. It's from a few years ago. I don't know who directed
That sounds so familiar.
Eli Roth produced it. A group of teenagers go to this haunted house, and they start finding out that like
I have seen that. Yeah, that movie's good.
and then the reveal about what's up with the people running. Yeah, I always wanted to know more about what was up with them, because like they're like, are they demonic? Did they just fuck themselves up to like some crazy degree? What is their deal?
How long have they been doing this?
Yes, but also I love that it tantalizes you with those questions and doesn't give you like it's such a nasty little movie, and it has a wonderful crowd pleasing ending to it. That's just it's great. Haunt, it's so good. That should be. I think that's a Shudder original, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe it is as well.
Woo,
man,
we did it.
We did it. Hey guys, we did it. 2 hours of talking about horror movies. Big shocker that we could do that. So do you have any ideas of what you want to talk about next time?
Well, I was thinking next time maybe we could go over our favorite studios and or even just production houses. Hammer Horror, talking Full Moon.
That's all I'll talk
Blumhouse.
I'm like, do you have 2 hours to talk about Hammer, your Lord and Savior?
Do you have 2 hours to talk about just the Puppet Master series?
Full Moon, baby.
I'll sit down and
Charles Band for life.
Charles Band, may he always find glory.
He always find his way into your wallet.
Yeah, man. As long as he keeps making those demonic toys, fighting Evil Bong, and then Evil Bong fighting the Puppet Master,
the Ginger Dead Man.
If you could find a horror vehicle where Gary Busey can voice a little puppet that's a cookie that's murderous, I'm there with you.
I'm with you.
Why not?
We'll wrap up by what have you been watching, listening to, reading lately in the horror end that you can recommend?
Okay. One thing I forgot to recommend, we've talked about a little bit last, is The Black Phone, starring Ethan Hawke. Fantastic movie based on a short story by Joe Hill, Stephen King's son. Really good. Not exactly explicitly horror, like scary, but it's a really taut thriller with really horrific elements to it.
I think Joe Hill does that really well.
He's great. He's really great. I'm becoming a major fan of his, and there's things that he can outdo his dad on. He's wonderful. And then recently I just saw Barbarian. Holy shit, was that fantastic.
I've heard great things.
The less you know about it, the better. Just know that it's good. It's so good. And then watching Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix. That's been super duper fun. Really makes it feels like I'm watching Tales from the Crypt again, and it's wonderful. And then on the reading side of things, I have been reading the movie tie-in for Halloween Kills because I heard it was better than the movie. And if you weren't a fan of Halloween, or wait, not Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, excuse me. If you weren't a fan of Halloween Ends, I do recommend reading the book. It fills in a lot of stuff that seemed to be missing about, like, if you were like, how is Laurie fine with all the events from the last movie? This will fill in at least 2 years worth of 4 years of what's been going on in her life, and that kind of works. And also rereading the Zombie Survival Guide by Max Brooks. That's one of those wonderful books I could pick up anytime, leaf through it, find something just to sit down and get absorbed in again. But yeah, that's what I've been up on. And out of all those, Barbarian. See Barbarian.
I am listening to Garth Marenghi's Terror Tome.
Yes.
I think Colin, we both like first day got out. I think we both pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
Garth Marenghi's amazing, and this. If you like Dark Place, this is basically just more great stuff.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, stop everything you're doing. You can find this on YouTube. Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. GarthMarenghi. Dark Place. It is
6 episodes, 30 minutes. All the episodes are on YouTube. It is.
Welcome to your new obsession.
Yeah. And then after you watch that, watch Man to Man with Dean Lerner.
Yes.
So you can just expand out from there.
Yeah.
Like we neither one of us mentioned. Yeah, Terror Tome's great. I just watched Satan's Slaves, which is Indonesian. Because I had on my list forever, and I saw that there's a sequel to it that just came out as well. It was very good.
Yeah,
it was I can't give it away, but there's a twist. It's like a fucking twist.
Ooh, was that on Shudder?
It's on Shudder. The sequel just came out like last week on Shudder.
Oh.
I really enjoyed it. I enjoy foreign language horror, especially because the sensibilities are different. I just reread the full run of Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk. I think it's like the third or fourth time I've read the whole thing. It's so good. There's parts I had forgotten about that are just. It's just so good.
Yeah, it transcends superhero stuff and becomes.
It's horror.
Yeah, it is. It's a
body horror. Yeah, it's body horror.
It's like Cronenberg for sure. It's wonderful.
Also, it does a really good job of taking the threads that Peter David wove together in his run about Bruce Banner's DID, and how those different manifestations of the Hulk are parts of him.
Yeah.
There's a really
and they all serve a purpose.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
There's a really great part where Savage Hulk fights the UFOs and gets the gamma sucked out of him, so he's like this gangly Frankenstein monster thing, and they leave him for dead. And the whole premise of the run is Banner dies, but the Hulk can't die. So Banner can die over and over and over again, and when the moon comes up, the Hulk comes out. So he just keeps waking up alive. That's kind of the base premise. But there's this fight, and then so Savage Hulk ends up wandering into Coney Island, and the thing is basically sent to round him up. And the last time they had those Ross covers are really
They're
good.
Great. Yeah.
The last time they fought was because Hulk jumped the thing on his honeymoon and almost beat him to death. And the thing's like, ready for payback. And he's like, "What's wrong with you?" He's like, in Savage Hulk, so he's, like a kid. And that's the whole thing is Joe Fixit, who in this story has become a human being. He no longer turns into the Gray Hulk, takes over, and he tries to block the thing and gets both of his arms broke. And the thing is like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "You're hitting a kid.
Yeah.
You feel good, big man? You're beating up a fucking child." And they have this great dialogue while they eat hot dogs together, where about the Thing having just died a few years ago, and he went to heaven. And in that Fantastic Four story, God was Jack Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an amazing during Wade and Werniergo's run. And when they kind of have this comparison, he says, "Well, where did you go?" And he goes, "I didn't go to heaven." And it's like this really interesting counterpoint that completely changes their relationship. And it carries forward later on in the book as well. It's
Yeah.
really good. It's the Hulk through a lens that you don't normally see,
Mm-mm.
and it is completely different.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically it. On top of that, I've been worked heavily on my upcoming Monster Hearts miniseries,
Ooh.
the Sins on Cold Mountain, which will be an Appalachian horror. So much so that I made a playlist on Spotify of creepy country and bluegrass songs. So
Mm.
that has kind of been a little bit of a horror obsession here of late. But
Very
other than
nice.
that, Colin, where can people find you?
You can find me over here doing stuff every now and then. Also, if you happen to have Xbox, I'm on there, Chef C Rock. I might be getting a Twitch thing going on soon, maybe, or else you'll find me over
Bad
here,
at games.
Bad at Games. And yeah, just I'll be hanging out with these fine fellows. Known World United, Heel Turn guys. Yeah, find us here.
Go YouTube and watch Colin's Extra Life sessions.
Yeah,
They
please
were,
do. Go back and watch those.
they were a hoot. You can find me Sunday, prep school. I don't know what we're prepping. I'll talk to Matt probably tomorrow for some Sexy Binks action. We might work more on the horror thing, or we might, yeah, I don't know. It's like time is all condensed right now, so
Mhm.
it's been kind of wild because I can't remember. Oh, you know what? We might work on Down and Outlands. Seven Down and Outlands is coming Monday. And then Monday Down and Outlands. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then next Friday, Black Friday, we'll have to find the blackest of black games to play for Bad at Games. So I have no idea what that would be. If you have suggestions, holler them out to me. Yeah. Mitch, I'm surprised you're even still working at anything after Extra Life. Yeah, prepping is something I don't know. Actually, you know what I do know, because I do have my wonderful digital device here. I made a calendar,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to be David about it and not follow calendars that I make. It is Dino. So I was right. And internet, you were wrong. Suck it, Trebek. Oh yeah, you know what? Let's just play Carrion on Friday.
Carrion's a good game.
Murder Spaghetti.
Murder
Hell
Spaghetti.
yeah.
Graham tackle push care of the TV. Man.
I'm not going out. I did 2 hours in the DMV today, which is the longest I've been anywhere outside my house with strangers, and it almost threw me into a full-blown panic attack. So
Yeah.
fuck the outside world. On that note, we will see you next month for some fucking Spoopy Boys.
Spoopy.
Spoopy. Bye.
Bye.